about becoming an entrepreneur, that again is something which is just out of the blue. Now, after PGI Chandigarh, I joined All India Institute as a senior resident, and then won a Rotary Foundation international scholarship to go and do a fellowship in MRI. MRI was just starting. This is 1987 at MD Anderson Cancer Hospital. Okay. It's one of the largest cancer hospitals of the world in Houston, Texas, in the US. And my wife and 8-month-old son, they went with me.
Oh, they did? Huh?
They did. We had a 7-year visa. This fellowship was for 1 year. I learned a lot during this. I also was able to write 4 papers during that 1 year. A fellow is actually expected to write 1. And, even 3 uncles of mine were in Houston. My grandparents by that time had shifted from Chandigarh to Houston. And so this whole family was there. I was doing well at MD Anderson, my wife and son with me. But somehow we decided that if we stay more than 1 year,
you will never come back.
We may never go back. And my parents were here. And we were pretty determined that we must go back after a year. Now, coincidentally, it happened that India's first MRI scanner got installed in 1987 in a DRDO lab in Delhi. Yes, called INMAS, Institute of Nuclear Medicine and Allied Sciences. It's near the Delhi University. And this is where India's first MRI got installed. By 1988, it was functional. And there was a vacant position, which would have suited what I had done. And so we decided that we will come back and not stay longer and maybe never go back. So I come back and there is this vacant position. As it happens sometimes, it took nearly 2 years for that vacant position to be advertised, for the interview to be held. And, every 3 months it would keep getting postponed. And I was feeling terrible, I said, I am the only trained MRI person in the country and I'm going to forget everything. So I'd come back and joined as senior resident at RML Hospital. Okay. Good hospital, good facilities, but I wanted to do MRI. Had I even known that after 2 years I would get that job, probably this thought would not have come into my head. But I said, here, I'm going to forget everything. What I learned is going to go down the drain. And so this कीड़ा in the brain कि अपना MRI लगाना है. So when I talked at home, they said ये पागल हो गया, करोड़ों की बातें करने लग गया. Remember, this is 1988, 89, when लखपतियों का जमाना था. 1 लाख रुपए की लॉटरी निकलती थी. करोड़ मुंह से वर्ड कहना मुश्किल होता था. And this machine was costing 2.5 crores.
My God.
And but then my dad by that time was principal of a public school in Punjabi Bagh called the Hansraj Model School. Very fine school. And in that area there are a lot of businessmen who were parents. So some of them who were close to my dad talked to a few of them saying that, मेरा बेटा ऐसे कुछ नई चीज पढ़ के आया है और ये नई मशीन है, इंडिया में अभी 1-2 लगी हैं, तो would you be interested? We had no money. So it so happened that one of them said, I'm ready.
Okay.
And that's how the whole thing started. And we made a company. We had no idea at all about how to go about it. So they were, we were four directors. That family was five directors. We had a share of 45%.
Oh.
They had a share of 55%, and that's how the whole thing started. And for my share in the company, I borrowed money from my mamas, four mamas in the US, who put in $10,000 each.
Oh,
So
God.
$40,000 they sent to me. I thought it was a loan. It turned out to be a gift,
Wow.
which was 6,85,000 at that time, a princely sum. And that's how we started. And that's the only, equity that we've had to put through these last 34, 35 years in this company. And that's how it started. Now, getting a loan. Now remember, this is 1989-90. India is in very dire situation. So getting a loan at that time was impossible. And for a young 30-year-old who has no business experience, it was absolutely impossible. We approached ICICI Bank. It was not such a humongous bank at that time. Small bank. And of course, the loan application was rejected. Now, there was this young manager, Murali, I don't remember his full name, Murali, with whom I used to interact. And he is the one who said, your loan application has been rejected. But he says, our chairman, Mr. N. Wagul, is coming to Delhi in a few days. I will get you 5 minutes with him.
Oh, wow.
Okay, if you can convince him, then it can get done. And Mr. Wagul actually only a few weeks ago expired.
Correct.
And I'll forever remain beholden to him. He didn't know me from Adam. I was a 30-year-old. And so I get to meet Mr. Wagul, the chairman of ICICI. And that 5 minutes extended to 30 minutes. And by the end of it, he says, young man, you've convinced me. We will process the loan, but we can't take all the risk.
Oh, God.
We would want you to bring in another institution.
Oh, God.
We will do it 50-50.
Oh, God.
Okay. So we were lucky. My father, being a teacher all his life, he had students all over. And so IFCI was approached. He knew someone there. At that time, you had to know someone to get a loan, especially if you were beginning. And so IFCI and ICICI Bank together gave that 2 crore plus loan. And, I go to get the LC established. I didn't even know what LC means at that time. And I go to the foreign exchange branch. It was in Connaught Place. And this manager says that, Dr. Saab, we cannot open the LC. I said, why not? We've fulfilled all the prerequisites that were there. Why can't it be done? He says, there's no foreign exchange in the country.
Oh, Lord.
So this is March 1990,
Oh, God.
when Mr. Chandrasekhar was the Prime Minister, and we had to send gold out of the country.
To get foreign.
And there were only 2 lines of credit, which were foreign exchange lines of credit, which were there. One was ADB, the other was KfW from Germany. And both were meant for the manufacturing sector, but were being used by the service sector, the hotel industry, tourism, medical, healthcare. That's when these agencies said, nothing doing. So for 1 year and 9 months, not a single LC could be established for a healthcare import in this country. and during that time, it was a catch-22 situation.
क्या करें?
That if you call off the project, then whatever you've invested goes down the drain. And if you don't, then you don't know what's going to happen. This is where my partner was very resolute. He said, "Koi nahi, we will wait." And we waited. By that time, coincidentally, that interview had been held. I had got selected.
Okay.
And so for 2 years, while we waited, I worked at INMAS.
Okay.
And so it was, so here again, it was only God's will. At that time, I was so downcast, morose, absolutely down and out, कि नौकरी नहीं मिली. वो नौकरी नहीं मिली तो entrepreneur बन गए. It was out of sheer necessity that I was forced to become an entrepreneur, and that's the reality of life. So whenever I go and talk to kids, in schools or in colleges, I tell them that you aspire, have ambition, have goals, but if you can't achieve them, don't think the next best is not good enough. If you do well with all your strength in whatever, job or role or profession, think that it's the one chosen for you by God and work well there, and you will,
You'll thrive.
You will thrive. Be number one, or try to be number one in whatever God has chosen for you as your path in life, and you will be happy. So and let me tell you, India of that time, no one can imagine what was the customs duty that was charged on a MRI scanner at that time, when India had, you could count them on the fingers of one hand. 204%. So 2.5 crore is the value, and the government wants you to give 5 crores as customs duty, or you could get what was known as a custom duty exemption certificate, where you were supposed to do 40% of all scans or treatments in hospitals and all that free of charge. And we tried doing that. Of course, we took the custom duty exemption, and there is, and then a survey was done because frankly at that time no one was doing anything free. They were getting the CDEC, custom duty exemption, and then there was no check and balance, but there was an inquiry that was conducted at that time, and we have a letter from the government saying we did 35% free. And we wrote to them, because they wrote, आपने 40 नहीं किया. हमने कहा हम कहाँ से, हम ढूंढ के कैसे लाएं? जो हमारे पास आए उनका हमने 35% total free किया. And I'd gone to All India Institute, GV Pant Hospital, RML hospitals which had orthopedics, which had neurosurgery, neurology, and told them send poor patients free of charge. And that's something we continue doing till this day.
Really?
That a poor patient will get concessions, will even get free the scan if they are deserving. And I say this very proudly. And frankly, the 5,000, 10,000 rupees that we may leave when we do this is nothing. I believe, and I sincerely, honestly believe this, is nothing compared to the blessings that you get, which are invaluable. And many times in life, I think that there are so many people who may have been more deserving, who were academically better than me, who were, who worked equally hard or harder, but were not as successful. I think I owe a lot to the blessings that were given by these people who we may have helped over time. And one little thing I would like to say, especially since there will be a lot of youngsters, hopefully, who will see this. At that time, people would say, ये है तो doctor, पर ये businessman बन गया. It used to, it was like someone is stabbing me, that word at that time was, we are talking of India of the 1990s. Businessman was a kind of not a very good word, and so the youngsters of today have this brilliant new word called startup. So I say we were the original startups in healthcare, but I wish there was that beautiful word which conveyed the exact meaning of what we were doing. And of course, businessman is no longer a reviled word or a word that's looked down upon, both in the public or the private sector. But so that's how it's God who really charts out the path for you.